We live in a world full of extremes. We are told to grind until our eyes bleed, or to self care until we are completely stagnant. We swing like a pendulum between burnout and boredom, and in that swing, we lose our peace. There is an ancient bit of wisdom that says, for one who is moderate in eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, discipline destroys suffering. Notice it does not say discipline is suffering, it says discipline destroys it, but only if that discipline is rooted in moderation. Today, we are going to talk about why the all or nothing mindset is actually a form of self harm and how the psychology of the middle way can actually heal your nervous system. When you hear the word discipline, what do you feel? For most of us, it's a tight chest. We think of a drill sergeant or a restrictive diet. But in psychology, true discipline is simply consistent self regulation. It's not about doing the most, it's about doing what is appropriate. Suffering often comes from the friction of extremes. If you eat too much, you feel lethargic and guilty. If you eat too little, you are irritable and weak. Both ends of the spectrum cause pain. Discipline is the quiet, humble bridge that gets you to the center where the suffering stops. Let's look at the first two pillars, eating and sleeping. These are the biological foundations of your psychology. Moderate eating is not about calorie counting, it's about listening to your body's enough point. When we overindulge, we are not just feeding hunger, we are often trying to numb anxiety. And sleep. Sleep is the most human thing we do. To be disciplined in sleep does not mean waking up at 4 a.m. because a billionaire told you to. It means respecting your body's need for rhythm. It's the discipline to put the phone down at 10 p.m. because you value tomorrow's version of yourself more than tonight's dopamine hit. Then there is work. In self-help category, we have glorified the hustle. But work without moderation is just an escape. People use hard work to avoid looking at their broken relationships or their inner loneliness. On the flip side, a lack of work, meaning a lack of purpose, leads to a different kind of suffering, the heavy weight of uselessness. Discipline in work means knowing when to push and, crucially, knowing when to close the laptop. It's about being a whole human, not just a producing human. But there is a fourth pillar, recreation, and it's where most of us get the middle way completely wrong. In our always on culture, we have forgotten how to actually play. We either scroll mindlessly for 4 hours, which is not rest, it's just digital sedation, or we feel so guilty about relaxing that we turn our hobbies into side hustles. The psychology of moderate recreation is about high quality recovery. It's the discipline to go for a walk without a podcast in your ears. It's the discipline to sit with a friend and just be there. When your recreation is moderate and intentional, it refills the well. If it's excessive, it drains it. True discipline is protecting your joy from becoming another core. So, how does this destroy suffering? Suffering, in a psychological sense, is often the result of friction. Friction between who you are and who you think you should be. Friction between your body's needs and your mind's desires. When you live in the extremes, you are always in a state of internal war. You are either punishing yourself for failing or pushing yourself to the brink of collapse. Moderation removes the friction. It's like oil in an engine. When you eat, sleep, work, and play with a sense of just enough, the internal noise starts to quiet down. You are not constantly negotiating with yourself. You are not chasing a high or running from a low. You are just steady. And in that steadiness, suffering simply has no place to root itself. Now let's get practical. How do you actually do this without it becoming another to do list? Try the 70% rule. In your work, aim for 70% effort most days, saving that extra 30% for when a true emergency or a spark of genius hits. In your diet, eat until you are 70% full. In your schedule, leave 30% of your time completely blank. This feels counterintuitive to the give 110% crowd, but 70% is sustainable. 110% leads to a crash that takes you down to 0% for a month. Discipline is the wisdom to stay at 70% so you never have to hit zero. That is how you win the long game of life without losing your soul in the process. The truth is, being moderate is actually much harder than being extreme. It's easy to fast for 3 days, it's hard to eat healthy every single day. It's easy to pull an all nighter, it's hard to go to bed at 11 p.m. every night. But this is the path to a human friendly life. You are not a machine, you were not built for maximum output. You were built for meaningful living. So look at your pillars today. Where are you leaning too far? Which extreme is causing you the most pain right now? Start there, not with a radical change, but with a gentle lean back toward the center. Because the middle way is not just a philosophy, it's the only place where you will finally find the peace you have been working so hard to find.